Thank y'all. All right. Everybody say I'm ready. Everybody say I'm ready. Guys, we're digging into tonight. Thank you, Trent, for throwing that up there. Digging into week number, anybody know what week we're on? Number 4. Week number 4. Drake had it up. He said 4, right? Drake, I almost said Drake number 4. Week number 4. Guys, in Unfiltered. And tonight, the title of my message is called The Pressure. The Pressure. That's why I asked if you guys were ready. We're feeling some pressure, right? Guys, we live in a world where everybody, and I mean pretty much everybody, is obsessed with fitting in, right? Who here wants to belong? Raise your hand, right? You want to belong, right? Everybody wants to belong, but few people, to be honest, know who they are, which is what the whole point of the series we've been digging into for a second. I want you guys to think about it in your own lives. Maybe you've done what I'm about to say, right? Don't say, oh my gosh, I did that, right? But just think about it. People will change the clothes they wear, their values, their personalities, just to get a little bit of approval. Yeah, that's true. Right? Your friends are all wearing a certain branding of clothing, right? You're like, man, if I don't wear no Lululemon, I'm not fitting in with them anymore, right? Man, if I don't have any Adidas shoes on, count me out, right? If I don't have any Air Force Ones, I'm out. But here's the truth. I want you guys to think about. You can't live out God's purpose if you're too busy performing for others' acceptance.
That's good stuff, brother.
Thank you, Johnny. If you guys are too busy chasing what your friends have, what your friends think you should have, what you think you should wear, you're too busy chasing that, you cannot live out God's purpose. Romans chapter 12, verse 2, first scripture I'm opening up out of tonight, says this. What's that first line say, y'all? Y'all, what's that first line say? I'm glad like 6 of y'all can read. I'm so glad. Don't copy the behavior and customs of this world. Do you guys know what that means? When I say don't copy the behavior and customs of this world, can anybody tell me what that means in English terms now? Nobody? What does it say? What is it, Shelby? Right. Don't do the things of this world because everybody else is doing them. It says don't follow the behavior and the customs. What it's saying is just because culture, the media, social media, your friends say you should be doing it, doesn't mean you should be doing it, right? Don't copy the behavior and customs of this world, but let God transform you into a what? Don't let God transform you into what? A new person by what? Changing the way you think. Then you'll learn to know God's will for you, which is good and pleasing and perfect. I had y'all read a lot out of that, so I want you guys to think. God's calling us not to live like the world. Why? Because He created you to be a new person. Somebody new. Not the old you. Oh, yeah. Move Pastor Darren's stuff. He's just mad at me for last week. That's what it is, Norman. That's what it is. Thank you, Mr. Norman. See, when we read this in Romans, we see Paul's writing to the Roman church. Have you guys ever heard of Rome before? No? All right, I'll move on from Rome then. Right? And what he's saying is don't let the world squeeze you into a mold. Don't let the world force you into being something they want you to be. Right? This whole purpose of this series is I've been encouraging you guys to live who you're supposed to be the real you, to not be fake, but to be real. The world says that you can be you as long as you look like everybody else. The world says you can be bold, but only if it's popular. The world tells you to be real, but filter it first. We don't really want the real you. See, guys, it looks like authenticity. It feels real. You live every day and it feels like you're being the real you because everybody else is doing it, but really it's not authenticity, it's conformity. How many of you guys have an art class right now? Raise your hand if you have an art class. Very few of you. How many of you guys like art? Yeah, quite a few. How many of you guys hate art? You're like, art is not my thing, right? So for those of you who hate art, you're going to hate this next part, right? Well, I want you guys to think, try to visualize this, right? What I'm trying to tell you. It's like you're sitting in an art class, right? Say it's like first grade, right? The teacher hands you a coloring sheet, right? It's got like 4 colors on there, right? So the teacher passes it out to everybody. It's the same coloring sheet. Everybody has the same thing, but everybody's all got different colors, right? Tatum may have blue. Ty may have pink, right? Angie may have red, right? We all have the same picture we're supposed to draw. We all have different colors. So you're sitting there and the teacher gives it. The teacher says, hey, I want you guys to do whatever you want on this paper. You're like, bet, right? I do whatever I want. The teacher says, but you have to stay within the lines that I give you. You can do whatever you want as long as it falls within this category. See, that's what the world does, is it tells you, hey, be who you're supposed to be the real you, chase your dreams, but you got to fit this narrative. Because you got to fit in with the rest of everybody else. You got to wear the certain clothes. You have to say these certain words. You have to treat people a certain way. You have to post certain things. Right? God didn't call us to color inside the world's lines.
That's right.
He called you to be transformed. Let him change the way you think. 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 17. It says, this means anyone who belongs to Christ has become a what? A new person. The old life is gone, and the new life has begun. So guys, when I call you guys to be yourself, who God's called you to be, well, it's not necessarily a small change. Small changes happen, but it's not necessarily a small change. We're meant to have transformation. We're to transform into someone new. When you give your life to Jesus, it's not a spiritual upgrade, right? It's a spiritual rebirth. That means the old you that's trying to please everyone, that's trying to fit in, say the right things, do the right things, prove something, is gone. And the new you, who's confident in your identity in Christ, is who he's created. But even though you're made new, the devil, everybody say the devil. Ooh, that's a weird word, right? Everybody say the devil. Ooh, makes you get a weird taste in your mouth, right? The devil, he likes to whisper things to you all. He likes to try to tell you things. I scrolled past where I was. I'm sorry, y'all. He likes to tell you things, make you doubt, say, that's not really who you are. I remember, Bailey, you used to do this 2 days ago. But since God decided to make you a new person and who you're supposed to be, right, you don't really change. You just did that 2 days ago. Right? Makes you doubt who you really are. You'll always be the same person. You'll never change. You've done it for the past 5 years. What makes it different now? Nobody really wants the real you. If you really show people who you are, would they even like you? Right, so that's what the devil does. But see, God didn't just change your label. He didn't just take Bailey's nameplate off and said, Bailey, take it off and put new Bailey. No. He made a new person. He changed your identity. But guys, being authentic is scary. Being real is scary. It can be very scary. The moment you decide to be the real you, I promise you, I don't make a lot of promises, somebody's not going to like it. You might lose approval. You might not fit in with a certain group of people. You may even feel just a little bit lonely. But I'll be honest with you guys, it's okay. Because you got God, first off, who's always by your side. And the people that stick with you when you become real, when you become who God called you to be, they're not going to drag you down. They're going to build you up. They're going to build you up. How many of you guys have heard the story of David and Goliath? A few of you guys, maybe growing up, right? So David and Goliath, those of you who don't know, it's in the Old Testament. It was right after Firey was born, about 6,000 years ago, 8,000, 12,000, 100 million years ago, right? Somewhere around in there, 6 or 7 million years ago, right? Right, so David is a little shepherd boy, right? Where's Zane at? Is Zane still Zane? I made fun of Zane earlier, guys. I feel bad, Zane, but I'm gonna say it again. Right, I knew Zane when I first met Zane. Dude was about as tall as this podium right here, and then when I saw him again, I was like, "That ain't Zane." But Rawson was the same way, y'all. Rawson was like this tall, then he just grew somehow. I mean, he still is pretty short. But y'all, if y'all ever knew Zane, about this high, right? Picture that as David, right? David was a small boy. He was tiny. He was a shepherd. He watched over the sheep. And Goliath, if you guys don't know, was a giant. I don't know the exact. I know he was it close to 12 feet? Was it Pastor Darren? Do you know? (9'6", tall, about, a little over 6 or 7 feet tall, right? Goliath was tall. And so you have David, short, right? You have Goliath, who's tall. And what it was is they were supposed to send their best warriors to fight Goliath. And the only person who stepped up was David. Only person that stepped up was David. So when we read the story, which I get a little off track there, when we read the story, King Saul offered David to give him his armor. How many of you guys know what armor is? There's a herd of armor. You know what armor is, right? It's meant to protect you, right? So King Saul offered David his armor because David was just about to go in just wearing this. He's like, man, I got my sling, I got 3 stones and a dream, right? He's like, I got it. And King Saul's like, listen, buddy, that's great and all, but you got to have some protection, right? So wear my armor. And so David was small. David put on his armor, realized that it did not fit. It couldn't fit. He could wear it, but he couldn't do anything. He knew that he could not fight in someone else's armor. So I bring that around back to you guys. I want to talk about being real, talk about being authentically you, being unfiltered. Guys, you can't fight battles wearing somebody else's personality.
Yeah, that's so good.
If you are faking who you're trying to be, how can you fight battles? When you're trying to fit into something that you're not meant to fit into because God's called us for something different.
Yeah.
God didn't call Colby to be a baseball player, I don't think. She said no. She confirmed. God said, I want you to be a wrestler. Could Colby go out and play baseball? Probably. Would she beat Tatum?
Yes.
Good chance. Trent? Maybe not. On a good day. Right? Trey doesn't play baseball. He's not in high school. Still living with the doom. You can't fight life's battles wearing someone else's personality. Wearing somebody else's style. Wearing somebody else's calling. Created you to be you for a reason. This next point I have for you guys is authenticity is when your outside finally matches what God is doing on the inside. Where your outside, with what you're doing with your life, with your actions, with the words you say, matches what God is doing on the inside. See, most of us didn't wake up one day and decide to wear a mask. We actually put it on slowly. Maybe you got hurt by somebody you trusted. Maybe you opened up once to somebody and they laughed at it. Maybe you got ignored or rejected. Maybe it just felt like you really weren't good enough. Pastor Darren, you can go ahead and come up on stage. So after you learn that, you learn to play the part. You learned which version of yourself got the most approval. You started living as that person, not because you're fake, but because you felt safer. But I got to tell you guys something tonight. That mask that you put on protects you from rejection, but it prevents connection. I'm going to say that one more time. That mask that you put on to protect yourself from rejection, it also blocks you from connection. See, God's not interested in the version that everybody else sees, right? He's after the one that no one sees. He's after the one who cries when no one's around, the one who doubts, the one who struggles to believe they even matter. When Jesus called his people, you guys, he didn't ask you to clean up first. When Jesus went to his disciples, he went to a fisherman, he went to tax collectors, doubters, and broken people. He didn't say, go clean up real quick and then come follow me. No. What Jesus said was, follow me now. Because the most powerful thing you can do is not to promise that you'll be perfect, right? But it's a promise to stop pretending who you are. Because the moment you take off the mask is the moment God can breathe freedom into your life. So walk in purpose, your purpose, who you are, meant to be, without apology.